Thank you so much everyone from tuning in. We're joined today by JJ Hurley from GDH Consulting. JJ, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing, Justin?
Great. Thank you so much for making the time. Assuming you're working from your home office today.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and apologize now. If a dog runs by, a 10-year-old son, or you hear my 14-year-old daughter having to record her violin in the background.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Okay. No worries.
We'll
I think
try to
it's the norm.
minimize the background.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the norm these days. So that's
I
totally
agree.
fine. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, JJ, for making the time. And I was hoping maybe we could start off by you just telling us a little bit about GDH and your role.
Yeah, definitely. So I am the CEO and founder of GDH Consulting. We are a strategic staffing partner for our clients. We focus on placing high-level IT professionals on contract and direct hire projects, as well as we have our divisions that do recruitment process outsourcing, RPO, which is high-level, high-volume direct hire work with our clients, as well as professional services. So we're in the IT world and we have about 700 consultants working in 42 different states today.
Wow. So why don't you tell us, if you're okay with this, why don't you tell us a little bit about sort of how the staffing industry you think has been impacted by coronavirus? Because, I'm sure we all see the headlines of people getting laid off and businesses maybe not looking to hire right now because of everything going on with coronavirus. Have you seen change in business and people willing to hire right now, and where you think that might be headed in the next several months?
Yeah, it's kind of, I'd say we've seen kind of two different worlds. And what I mean by that is a lot of our mid-market clients, the smaller mid-caps, they are on a complete hiring freeze, and many of their projects have been put on hold. And so we've seen a major impact, not just here at GDH, but with all my other CEO peers that I've spoken with across the industry.
Right.
Understandably so. You've got projects and you've got what I would consider contingent labor that are working on those projects. And that's the first thing somebody's usually going to have to look at cutting when things do get tough. I will say from our larger Fortune 500 clients, they've been a little bit of a slowdown, but they have not slowed down their projects and have not cut contractors and contract support.
Yeah.
Seen a little bit of both, but no, it's been a major impact for our industry as a whole. I know I've been on multiple calls with my representatives, be it House of Representatives, senators, and partnering with the American Staffing Association, trying to really convey to them, from a staffing perspective, our industry puts over 3 million people to work a day. And inevitably, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the first people cut are those 3 million. So it's been a major impact for our employees, major impact for the individuals that we place, and for the companies.
Yeah. So with all of that going on and, the impact that the virus is having that you just talked about, I'm sure it can be sort of distracting, right? To work on the specific day-to-day activities of your company when, your employees around you, the impact it's having and how it's impacting hiring. How do you manage all of that?
Well, I try to control what I can control, and that is my effort. I talk to my team about this a lot. We've got 110 employees in 16 different markets, and I try to really encourage them, let's control what we can control, okay? This is what we're dealing with, but we've got great opportunity. I try to lead with energy and enthusiasm for my team, and similarly here at my house, because we're so many families. My wife's a full-time working attorney, and so she's here, I'm here, the two kids are here.
As my dad.
Yeah, and so it's what you can control, and there is opportunity. I want to be very clear, and I think many of the peers that I speak to feel the same way. This is so different than what we experienced in 2009, and this, for my background, also 2001. and it's uncharted territory where we don't know if this is going to be a V or a U from the economy standpoint. But there are opportunities, and there's opportunities for us to, in some respects, redefine how we work with our clients and our consultants and be positioned. So we're, as a company, me as a leader, I mean, I'm probably, like, I'm sure everybody you've spoken to would say the same thing. I'm probably busier today than I have been in forever.
Yeah, yeah.
You think I was busy, but now since you're working from home, you don't have to take kids to schools or go to baseball practices or things like that. You find yourself working from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Right.
And it just doesn't end. But again, I come back to it's what I can control, and there's opportunity here, and we will get through this.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about bringing energy and enthusiasm to your role as a leader. I'm curious how you find because I think that'd be really beneficial for not only managers to hear, but also for frontline employees that are dealing with their everyday life. And it might be hard for them, especially working from home. It might be hard for them to sort of generate the same energy they would in an office environment. So I'm curious how you've brought that to the table working.
And Justin, forgive me. At the end of your questions, I'm losing you a little bit on the
Oh,
feed. I
yeah.
want to make sure I heard that properly. So if you could just
Sure.
ask that one more time. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, sure. I'll start over. So what I was saying is you talked about bringing energy and enthusiasm to the table as a leader. And I'm curious if you have any tactics that you use to keep your energy levels up and your enthusiasm up, because I think, especially when we're working from home, it's harder to do that. Sometimes people I mean, you see articles all around, right, that it talks about people, kind of just getting distracted by TV, video games, whatever, managers being concerned about that. And they might just be doing it out of confidence, not just having that same enthusiasm. They're trapped in four walls every day. So I'm curious how you would recommend managers being able to bring that energy enthusiasm to the table, to help guide their teams, but also for their team members to do the same so they can keep active and productive.
Right. You know, as I mentioned, we got people in all different markets. And so we have some individuals that are in New York and San Francisco, which are locked in pretty much to their condos and houses. And some of the individuals may have, smaller apartments, and some people have bigger houses. So I know for me, I take as much of the opportunity as I can. I mean, I see this really as a blessing. Be really clear. I mean, I'm spending a lot more time with my kiddos than
Yeah.
I normally get the chance to do. But I also make sure that, although I mentioned to you earlier, we start at 7 in the morning, go till 10 at night. I'm constantly moving around, getting out of the house. I don't care if I have to walk into the garage, just to find something to kind of get my juices flowing. I'm kind of a hyper individual, to say the least. So I'm always moving around,
Yeah.
standing up. I talk. One of the benefits, talked about how you get that energy with your employees. I think hopefully more and more organizations are going to adopt this after we get back to what would maybe be normal business. I'm not sure if it'll ever be normal again.
Yeah.
Uh, Man, I can tell you that we're a very connected organization, but I can tell you that when I spoke to my reps that were in other states, I usually just called them on their cell phones. Okay. Now, everything I'm doing is with what we're doing right now, video, right?
Yeah.
Be it using the WebEx tools or other tools that other organizations have. And I think just having the opportunity to look somebody through a video camera in the eyes, talk with them, let them feel a little bit more about what's going on. I think that's the biggest key. And we've seen great, I mean, it's amazing the collaboration we've been able to experience when we've got people working from home. And, we're used to our environments, our offices are tight knit groups. We're all in there together. We have what we call huddles throughout the day. We're standing up together, working around a whiteboard, hey, moving deals and what's happening. That's not slowing down. That's happening right now. So
Just virtually.
for any organization, and many are. So it's not that I'm saying something that's not already being experienced, but this is the key, being able to have this interaction. And for that matter, I'm having these same interactions with our clients. Usually there'd be clients I'd be calling on the phone from my office at our corporate office, asking them how projects are going and how our organization's doing and what we can do to be a better partner. Now that's happening via video. So I think that's the real key.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious, have you run into a situation where, you've been on, let's say, a Zoom call like this or a WebEx call, and maybe your kids were in the background or something, and a client hasn't been so happy with that. I've gotten mixed responses in terms of whether people think it's okay to have kids in the background. I think it's actually a very important topic right now because we're all sort of having, I mean, I don't have kids, but I have colleagues that do. And I know we're all sort of dealing with that is like, can I, keep my kids out of the room for a half hour? Do they need to come in? What are my clients going to say? Curious what your thoughts are on that.
So it's funny you say that because I was actually having a somewhat similar conversation this morning with one of our clients, and I can tell you that um, in weeks, months past, if for some reason I had to hop on a call, but I needed to be at my house to let's say let a service person in, I would be petrified if my dog barked. I mean, I would. It was my biggest fear that, oh my gosh, while I'm on this call with a client at my house on a Tuesday, dog's gonna bark or something. At this point, it's so now the norm.
Yeah.
I have no concerns. I have no concerns when I speak to my staff about it. When we do our, we have, we do our, what we're having is global happy hours. So many companies are doing that. We've got people that are bringing their kiddos in and having them sit on their lap. We've got plenty of that. So I am of the opinion that that concern is out the window. And
Yeah.
every client that I've been on the phone with the last 2.5 weeks since we went fully remote. Of course, I try to be polite and not have my 10 and 14-year-old on my shoulder the whole time. But by no means have I had anybody give any pushback. And in fact, most of the clients that I'm speaking to are having the same scenario. So
Yeah.
I think that there's some benefit of that. Now, granted, if there's conversations that are having that are a little bit more strategic maybe or confidential, by all means, that's not appropriate. But day in and day out, I do think that will change for the future. And I know it's changed for me because it's just a reality of life. I think everybody probably understands, hey, this is the cards we're being dealt right now. So if a 10-year-old comes screaming through on a skateboard, it's not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. All right, JJ. I think this has been some really awesome information. Is there anything else you want to add? You want to maybe share the website where people can go to learn more about GDH and your services?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, by all means. Our website is just www.gdhconsulting.com,
Great.
and would be, happy to help anybody that is in a tough situation right now. As we talked about when we launched the conversation, a lot of people right now are being laid off. We saw the unemployment numbers from last week. We're all pretty confident it's going to be even higher this week. I will tell you, companies are still hiring. We've got clients that are calling us, be it from the federal space that have federal contracts that are being awarded, other areas. So it's just really incumbent upon everybody. And I've told this to many people. If you've been laid off, your now full-time job is aggressively looking for another job. And there are opportunities out there. And I think
Right.
that's the thing that people need to hear because we're seeing it on a regular basis. As I mentioned earlier, there's opportunity and just got to go seize it. But happy to help anybody. And it was a great conversation, Justin.
Great. Well, thanks so much, JJ.
Thank you.